Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to this video titled The Number Line, and you will need to get out your math book, your math journal, and a pencil, and I would like you to turn to page 45 in your math book. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the objective for this video. Even though this lesson has two different goals, I'm going to divide this video into two different sections. So the only objective or goal for this video is to represent whole numbers, fractions, and decimals on a number line. So you want to write that down in your notes. You can pause the video and write that down. So throughout this video, I want you to scroll to the bottom of your page there on page 45. We're going to look at whole numbers on a number line, and we're going to look at horizontal number lines and also vertical number lines. Okay, so you can see the difference between those two on page 45. So it's important to understand with positive numbers, they're all numbers greater than 0. And on a horizontal number line, they are to the right of 0. So you can see to the right of 0. And then on a vertical number line, they are all above zeros. Okay, so set of positive numbers can also include positive fractions and decimals. So we'll look at that throughout the video today. So having a good understanding of a number line and the way it's set up will really help you out when you start comparing the values of two different numbers. So the basic idea on a horizontal number line, the farther to the right a number is, the greater the value it has. The farther to the left a number is, the less value it has. Now, when you think about a vertical number line, like we see there for number 3, we can see the higher up a number is, the more value it has, and then the lower the number is on a vertical number line, the less value it has. Now we're going to take a look at number 1 on the bottom of page 46, and it says to draw a horizontal number line to represent each set of whole numbers. So first of all, it says positive whole numbers less than 5. So what you're going to do is draw a number line and label positive whole numbers less than 5. So let's do that together. So I have my number line like this, and it's going to look maybe a little bit different than what you have. All right. You can just draw yours. I have this one from Braining Camp all ready to go. So I'm going to have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can just cut your number line right off after the number 5. So we could see those are positive whole numbers that are less than 5. Now let's jump down and take a look at number 2. And get another number line right up here. So we can see for number 2, it says whole numbers greater than 9 but less than 14. So you want to have your number line. You won't be able to have one like I have, but you can have another number line there that you just draw. Okay, and we can start out with 9, and then we'll have 10, 11, get my thickness a little bit lower there, 12, 13, and then 14. Okay, so those are numbers that are greater than 9 but less than 14. So whenever you're drawing these types of number lines, you want to include the number that it says everything's greater than, and also the number that it says every number is less than. So we can see, once again, the farther to the right you go on the number line, the greater the value. The farther to the left you go on a number line, the less value it has. Now let's take a look at page 47. So we looked at vertical number lines, horizontal number lines. Now we're going to take a look at vertical number lines. So it says for number 3, draw a vertical number line to represent each set of whole numbers. So for number 3, it says odd numbers between 1 and 10. So what we'll do first of all, we're going to draw a vertical number line. So we'll just draw a number line just like so. So draw it vertical there, and then we'll put a arrow there and an arrow here. That's just showing the numbers keep going there. So odd numbers between 1 and 10. So we'll write 1, and we'll identify these here in just a little bit. You want to do this together with me on page 47. We'll go all the way up to 10. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to identify all the odd numbers. So we have 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay, so once again, with a vertical number line, we can see the farther up you go on the number line, the more value a number has. The farther down you go, the less value it has. So the next thing I would like you to do is jump all the way to page 53. And we're going to start taking a look at some mixed numbers and also some decimals. So you can see for number 7 on page 53, it says mixed numbers between 0 and 2 with an interval of 1/3 between each pair of numbers. So what we'll do here, if it's between 0 and 2, so we have 0. Okay, then my next line would be 1/3. And then after that, the next part would be 2/3. Now the next number would not be 3/3, even though it could be, but it would also be 1. Whenever the numerator and denominator have the same value, that means it represents 1. And then after my 1, I would say 1 1/3. I know my handwriting's a little sloppy, but that's okay. 1 1/3 there, and then we go 1 2/3 would be my next number. And then finally, we would not have 1 3/3, it would just be 2. Okay, so we can see that that represents mixed numbers between 0 and 2 with an interval of 1/3 between each pair of numbers. So you can see intervals of 1/3 there. Now let's jump down and take a look at decimals from 7.0 to 8 4/10 with an interval of 2/10 between each pair of decimals. Now, one thing that you do need to understand with these number lines is that you have arrows on each side. That's really important. That just shows that the number line keeps going farther and farther to the left and also to the right, actually never ending. So make sure you have that on your number lines as you draw those out. Now let's take a look at number 8, decimals from 7.0 to 8 4/10. So we have our number line written out, hopefully. And now we're going to start with 7. We do 7.0, and then we're doing intervals of 2/10 between each pair of decimals. So we have 7 2/10 after that. 7.4 or 7 4/10. After that, we have 7 6/10. We have 7 8/10. Now we would not do 7 10/10. The next number would be 8. And then after that, 8 2/10. So you can see 2, 4, 6, 8. And then finally 8 4/10. And why did we stop at 8 4/10? Because the book told us decimals between 7 and 8 4/10. So you can see once again that anytime you take a look at a horizontal number line like this, the farther you go to the right on the horizontal number line, the more value the number has. In other words, 8 4/10 would be greater than, farther you go to the left, the less value would be greater than 7 2/10. Okay, now the final problem I want you to do with me is on page 54. We're going to take a look at number 12, and this is a vertical number line, as you can see. And remember, the main idea behind a vertical number line is the higher you go on the number line, the more value. The further down you go on a vertical number line, the less value it has. So this is saying positive fractions less than 1 with an interval of 1/8 between each pair of fractions. Okay, so we'll start out here at the bottom with a 0. All right, and we'll do intervals of 1/8. So the next one would be 1/8. The next fraction there, I'm just going to write it off to the side here. Here would be 2/8. So whenever you're going in intervals of eighths or any type of fraction like this, that would be 1/8 or 1/6 or 1/5. You're keeping the denominator the same, and the only thing you're doing is changing that numerator there. So what comes after 2/8? Pretty easy, 3/8. What comes after 3/8 would be 4/8, or you can even say 1/2 there. What comes after 4/8? Pretty simple. 5/8. Why 5/8? Because 1/8 plus 4/8 would give you 5/8 there. After 5/8, we have 6/8. Or that could even be 3/4. Next fraction, 7/8. Okay, and finally, we don't need to write 8/8. It should just be 1. Remember, whenever the numerator and denominator are the same number, that equals 1 with a fraction. So this concludes our video on the number line. As you can see, we were able to represent whole numbers, fractions, and decimals on a number line. If you have any questions about this concept, please come and see me.